Good morning. Welcome to Wairarapa Woman's Inspirational Woman. We've got a really fantastic morning to lined up. We've got Sophie here from the Rapper Feed Run. But firstly, I would like to thank our sponsor, Vicky Simpson from Professionals. Check out Vicky's webpage for open homes this weekend. This is the last program that Vicky's going to be sponsoring for a while, and we'd like to say from the Wairarapa Women's Centre, thank you, because Vicky has enabled us to get this program up and going to where now we can continue on, and your help, Vicky, has been really, really fantastic. Also like to thank Dress for Success for actually dressing me this morning. I've got their pants and their shirt, but I did actually put a jacket on of my own this morning just to finish it off. So it's thanks to Mel. And remember, Dress for Success have now moved to Workshop Road. They're no longer in the community centre, and you can still drop off your clothes to Professionals and they'll get them to Mel as well. So remember, guys, there's a lot of people out there. They're extending these services now to not just actually jobs, but actually if you're going to view a house, going to any interview, then make sure you go and see Mel and get a really nice outfit for him. Good morning, Sophie. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you for having me.
Sophie, you've been an organiser along with your husband Daniel for the Rapper Feed Run. Tell me what's that about?
So both Daniel and myself are from Hawke's Bay originally, and we have a lot of friends up in Hawke's Bay still who are farming. So, excuse me, we were talking to one of them recently, and they were saying how they just have no feed. Their dams were drying up. They were running out of stock water. It was just tough. Really
it's heartbreaking,
tough.
Isn't it, for the farmers?
It really is. Farmers really care about their stock. I know there's a perception that farmers are only there to make money from their stock, but that's so far from the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So, Sophie, tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me about your life before we get into the feed run.
My life pre-feed run. Yep. So Daniel and myself live on Glen Eden Farm in Ponatai. So Daniel is the stock manager there for the Gascott family. And I work in Martinborough as a financial controller for the Payne and Kershaw group.
And thanks to the Payne and Kershaw group that have actually allowed Sophie to come here this morning to be interviewed. Thank you.
No, they're brilliant. Great employers.
And you have a little daughter as well?
We do. So we have little Ella, who's 8 months old. So she's definitely seen a lot of bales recently, and
she's also seen a lot of TV cameras as well.
She has. She's a pro already.
She looked the calmest out of the three of you one morning when I was watching you on breakfast. She was just sitting there watching the camera. It was really good to see.
Yes, she did have those square kind of soft toys so we gave her that just before we went on, so it occupied her for a good space of time.
Fantastic. So you're saying Daniel's a stock manager. Tell me more about the farm out there and what you're farming.
Yeah, so Glen Eden, the main farm is 1,600 acres, and then they have a lease block, which I think is 400 acres down the road. So Dan does all the stock side, obviously. So it's a mixture of sheep, beef, fattenings for lambs, as well as the breeding side as well. And they supply, all their lambs go through to Atkins Ranch. And then, of course, there's a little bit, there's the beef, bit of Wagyu cattle as well. So it's quite a big... It's quite a range.
Big. So Daniel's actually got quite a commitment with this, without what you guys are taking on between you as well with the feed run.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's the benefits of living rurally?
Oh, so many. I grew up on a farm, and I couldn't imagine having Ella anywhere else. Just being able to go outside and explore and see things, and like yesterday, we managed to go out from the horses for a ride around the farm, and just getting outside in that fresh air and the open space and up on those hills, it's a great way to get rid of some stress.
Sure is. So tell me, do you get time out on the farm other than just to go for a ride? Do you work on the farm as well?
Not really. Sometimes in the weekends if Dan's quite busy and it's his weekend on. Before pre-Ella, I probably spent a bit more time chasing up sheep in the yards for him, but not so much now. They try to do it so even when it's their weekend on, so he does weekend on, weekend off, even then it's minimal work.
Great.
Mark, his boss, is very much, he likes weekends to be weekends.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
it is
that's
really
actually
nice.
well-being for the employers as well. Being able to have that
Absolutely.
family time is really important, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
And it's also good because you can go out and just help bits and pieces, but you're busy yourself with being a financial controller at Payne and Kershaw. So how many hours do you do with that?
So I've just gone back to work, and I do 3 days a week, around 6 or 7 hours a day. And then it's quite often I will pop on at nights at home and catch up, or generally it's feed run related at the moment. That's my time.
So this, the feed run that you've started has actually been over and above your normal day's work as well.
It has been. So thankfully we started this before I went back to work. Otherwise I'm not sure how we would have quite kept on top of it. I think we started it maybe 3 weeks before I went back to work part-time. So lockdown was quite beneficial for me there. So it was really a full-time job for those 2 or 3 weeks, with answering emails and backwards and forwards with the amazing farmers who have donated feed. But there was a lot of logistics in the back end.
Certainly, we're going to talk about that, but I think we're going to go and show you some photos for a start.
Okay.
Sophie's going to talk us through some of the photos. So, Sophie, we've got the young guy sitting on the feed bales, which are just awesome. Talk us through this photo.
So this was actually our very first photo, which we did for the Farmers Weekly. So Colin did a story on this before we even went live. This is actually what pushed us to take this campaign out earlier than we expected. So we took a photo for the Farmers Weekly. So that's Annabelle and Ben Guscott on top of the bales, and Annabelle has Ella with her. So we wanted to get the idea out there about decorating your bale.
That was actually really good, wasn't it? Just,
yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit more about it, but just seeing some of those comments on those bales, we'll see some more in photos. The farmers in Hawke's Bay are really at a stage, they're wondering, shall they stay in farming? What's happening to the animals? Their well-being at the moment is a real low ebb.
Yeah. And that's, getting hay or baleage or straw, anything is a great boost, but to know that someone's taken that much effort to help you and be thinking of you just helps with that mental health side of it.
It sure does. Because, a lot of people don't realise when you're in a drought, you're not just worried about your land, you're actually worried about your stock. You've got your income. A lot of the time the partners might have to go with the farm to work, so you don't have that other support person in there.
Yeah.
And it's during lockdown, that closed off time, unless they phoned somebody, there was nobody coming on the farm to talk to them. The advisors weren't coming through, or those, were they?
When it's even that, they couldn't go down to their local pub and have a beer on their Wednesday or Thursday night, whatever night they had it, and just sit there, have a beer with a few mates and talk.
Yeah,
It just wasn't that normal outlet.
So this is on how you got it out there.
Yep, that was the very first photo.
Wow, that's actually an amazing photo. That just goes to show you, we were sitting in green, but there's still that tougher, the brown ourselves.
Yeah.
And how that rain in March actually saved ourselves from going to this stage.
Oh, it did. And if it wasn't for that rain, we could have so easily been in the same situation. And it's just luck that we got it. Parts of Gisborne got it, and Hawke's Bay didn't.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because we were very, very brown. In fact, we were sending pictures to other places around saying how brown we were in town. But realistically, come November, December, we had a lot of grass that was actually being baled as well.
Yeah.
So that was a saviour as well.
It was. We noticed it probably in the new year was when it really started drying off for us.
Yeah.
I know they have a pivot irrigator on Glen Eden, and that didn't start till a little bit later in summer actually being used because we were quite lucky. We were very fortunate to start with the rain, and then it just stopped.
Let's move on to the next picture, because I think this one shows on how different people have actually supported.
Yeah, so we had this was actually the very first unit load to land in Hawke's Bay. This was taken up by Resma Haulage, and this whole unit load was, apart from the few bales you see there, was donated from one farming family.
That's That's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I went out there to watch them loading this truck. So the truck was all baleage and the trailer was all hay, and they even took the front bales out of the shed, which the weather had got, a little bit, and pulled out the bales behind it to go on the truck.
That's just,
so it was just
the top hay went through to them. I think that's actually amazing for farmers to do that.
It was just lovely. And then you can see here we've got Andrew from Bailey's. He donated 2 bales from that farmer as well, and so did Ed Willis Livestock.
That's just really good, and
so it was cool to see them.
I'm sure that these farmers themselves understand the situation. They've been in droughts themselves.
Oh, exactly. And it just shows it's not just the farmers, it's really the farming community coming together for this.
Right, the next one. I love this cartoon. I just really do. Unfortunately, it's probably not coming up big enough on the screen. Yeah. Where did this cartoon come from?
This is the Farmers Weekly. This was maybe a couple of weeks ago, after we've had quite a few other areas come on board as well, and other regions are doing similar feed runs now. And I just love how this captures, obviously the Rapper feed run, but also all the other areas that have come on board, and the decorated bales and the truckies coming in to help.
I think what really stands out for me is from your mates.
Yeah.
I think that just really shows in that picture that when you're in the farming community, everybody's mates, everybody helps out.
Absolutely.
And I just think that's really fantastic cartoon, that one is.
And that was always one of our initial slogans, I guess taglines, was that it was farmers helping farmers.
I know, that's actually really fantastic.
And it's so simple and clean, and it is what we started out to do.
Great. Well, we're going to just go back and talk a bit more, Sophie, about how did the feed run start? What started you on this big excursion you've been on?
So there were a few factors. What we did pre-feed run is Daniel has a friend who had some small bales stored in his shed, and the sale fell through for them. So we said, well, how about we try and help you out, and we'll see if we can sell some of these to Hawke's Bay. They were small, conventional bales. And so we ended up selling a unit load of small hay bales. I think it was 870-something hay bales, small bales.
That's not a small number, that's a huge number.
It was a curtain cider jam-packed full of these small bales, and around 100 mini bales.
Wow.
Up to Hawke's Bay. So we did that one Saturday, and I think I put that up on Facebook for him and kind of did the back end, the names and numbers for him. I think they were sold within 3 hours. It was incredible. And so we started just thinking, a couple of nights later, Daniel was sitting on his chair at night having his beer, and he said, well, if lifestylers are like this, farmers must be in a similar situation. And we saw, we'd heard from a few friends that baleage was going for, $180, $190 a bale, excluding freight. Well, normally it's $100-ish a bale.
That's amazing, considering these farmers have already got their incomes down because of drought.
Yeah.
So baleage, it goes up for them, and it's actually really heartbreaking to hear that some people are paying nearly double the amount.
They are, and it's not everyone can afford that. It's hard. And then you hear the stories of some farmers who maybe aren't on social media, so by the time they hear about feed for sale, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone so many times over. And then Daniel follows on Facebook the Burrumbashik Hay Runners. So they were very similar in Australia. They took hay out to the drought-affected areas, and they had, it's quite moving to watch the videos, they have trucks, and I mean hundreds of trucks, with hay on the back, turning out and going out to the outback.
Wow.
With feed on it, and it's incredible.
I've seen that on the Australian Truckers program.
Yes.
That is actually, I know the night I watched it, it was actually quite heartening to see how many actually came in and supported.
Absolutely. And it was, following on from this hay run and then seeing those, that Dan just said, well, wonder if we can do something. At the time I was like, oh, can't we just wait till we get this hay out of the way? But actually, the day we went live was the day we were in Hawke's Bay delivering this hay. So it was a very busy, very, very busy Saturday. all the way back to the Wairarapa, I was sitting in the ute on my phone, texting and messaging people backwards. It was quite incredible.
And the response you got was just absolutely amazing. To the Wairarapa farmers that have donated, you've just been so amazing.
Oh, they have been, and we're quite glad now. We took a bit of time, 3 or 4 days, was about what we had, to kind of really think about this. And we talked to a few people and just said, hey, we have this idea. Can you help us? And we were really fortunate those 2 or 3 days before we went live, because it was about that a friend of ours, Rebecca Greaves, so they're farmers in Pongaroa, but she works, she's a freelance media journalist. So I had a call with her, and she put together some nice words for me to kind of explain what we're doing. So that just is very helpful. And actually their farm has donated as well. Farmer's Daughter Design Studio, had a quick chat with her, and Bex managed to do some graphics for us. So we had when we went live, we actually had some good graphics and a good description of what we were doing. And we already had a little bit of an idea of how we were going to get these bales in. So I was very, very glad we had that part of it sorted before it went out and went completely crazy.
We live on South Belton. I was amazed on the amount of bales that was moving. I actually said to my husband, wonder what's going on, because all these bales are moving backwards and forwards. And for a couple of weeks there, it was just huge.
Yeah.
It was, everything was moving.
Yeah. It was that first week. We were very lucky that Resma Haulage saw our post and saw what's happening on social media. I'm not quite sure who picked it up, but there was a comment just saying Resi's keen to help. And somehow I got in contact with Graham, and he has been amazing, because all the ones around Masterton you'll see are generally Resma Haulage trucks bringing it in. And then we have in the South Wairarapa, we have Martin Boat Transport helping us.
Just amazing for these companies just to come in, and so both of these actually stored bales ready to go up.
Yeah.
Our next photo I'm going to go over to, Sophie.
Oh, yes.
It's actually some of them loading it.
This is actually the Horowhenua feed run. So I shared their post just to give these guys a bit of a shout out for what they were doing as well.
But it just goes to show the manual work that's been needed.
It is, especially when you're loading small bales.
I know you put a call out one part for help for it, because you know the amount of bales that you were loading. So tell me, how many bales have actually gone up there in total?
I just had an email this morning with more bales. So I think would be over 1,100 bales donated now, probably actually getting up to 1,200. Of that, the call we put out was we had 250 mini bales donated. And if anyone's loaded mini bales, they will know they are small, wrapped, wet, heavy little things, and they're not that fun to load. So generous of the people to donate them. So we're very lucky and very happy that we had a good group of people come and help us load them, and the Rural Support Trust here have been so amazing.
That's fantastic. Let's have a look at the next photo here, because we've got some amazing... This is actually the trucks actually arriving, and we've actually jumped a bit quicker here.
That's okay.
That's actually just goes to show what you were driving into. Yeah,
it was amazing. I wasn't there. It was just too hard to do it with Els, and to expect her to sit in a truck for 3 hours all the way to Hawke's Bay. But this photo was actually taken by a friend of ours.
Fantastic.
Her parents lived there, and they went down with a group of people to the end of the road, and she took this amazing photo.
Tell you what, on the Rapper Feed Run, go into their Facebook page. That's where I picked up on it. A friend of ours, Fiona Healy, was actually in Hawke's Bay. They'd actually also donated bales.
Yes, they have.
And they had their girls there, and somebody was going through the trucks when they arrived and was personally thanking everybody that was there. And Fiona was there, and she put it up on her Facebook, and it was just, to me, I just sat there and looked at it and went, wow.
I know.
What an amazing community we live in.
Absolutely. And of those trucks we have there, so the pilot was Olswaski Transport. They provided the pilot free for the day.
Fantastic.
Then the first truck and the last truck, the 2 silver trucks, are actually Flat Point Station from here. So Dan's in the first one, And that's Jay McGuinness in the back with his 2 boys.
So I think
Came
we've got a
along.
photo of them a bit later.
Oh,
no,
yes.
they're in the video, and I tried to
They
pick the
are.
video up, and I just love the video.
It's very cute.
It is. And so, make sure you go onto the Facebook page
Yes,
and actually
please
go
do.
and see this, because it's not only shows the hard work, but the emotion.
Oh, it does. I sat there pretty much the whole day. We had the second truck. Marg was in that. They're friends of ours from Hawke's Bay. They came down especially to do this.
Oh,
In their
fantastic.
truck. And Marg was sending me little videos as they went through the towns. So I was posting them up on our Instagram story and Facebook saying the time so they could see where they were. It was quite cool because they had some good trucky music in the background going through. And the people following our story that day to see where these trucks were
Just
was amazing.
So you've got you got Flat Points,
So
and then the
next-
one that you get a bit obscured. Who's that?
That's Harrison Transport. So they actually live in Morakakaho, Jeremy and Marg.
Wow.
So they own they own and run Harrison Transport. So they brought one of their trucks down, a big curtain sider for the day. So they came down the Friday night.
Wow,
I think
that's good.
Yeah, and that was a lot of time. They left, say, lunchtime. They drove down here, went out to Puranawa, picked up some bales, then picked up some sheep nuts from another farm for us, brought them up, and then stayed at our house and then drove up the next day. So it's a lot of free
That's
time
Awesome.
as well as the truck itself.
So it just goes to show it's not just Wairarapa farmers that have actually helped, it's actually the local farmers as well.
Yeah, and the truck behind him was another Hawk. You can't really see him. It's another Hawke's Bay truck. So that was Tumu Transport.
We were looking at the Timu Transport and wondering where they were from, because
Yes.
in the video it shows all of the trucks really
does.
quite clearly. So make sure you go and see the video. And then of course the next one you've got in front of Jay.
That was Brookwood Angus. Brookwood Angus from Takapau.
Wow.
So that's they obviously have their own truck as well, but they were just Clint, the guy who drives that truck, was keen to come out and help for the day, and again the farm supplied the truck free, and Clint gave up his time for the day.
That's really awesome. The video that actually shows them actually leaving
Yes.
Namatara Road, and all the trucks are there, and they let Daniel come front.
They do.
And I thought, wow, what a respect shown to Daniel.
It was it was quite cool to see all that hard work and
The
just
emotion
to
that
go
day
through
was
it.
just, the emotion
even
through the
now.
whole lot. The emotion through the whole lot. It's just been amazing. Let's just go through to the next photo.
Yeah, this was one of the farms they dropped off at, so I think that might have been the Tumu guys went there.
That's just amazing on how they've taken the time to say thanks.
Yeah, so he said they turned up and they had signs. Oh, the kids were standing there
Oh,
with
nice.
their signs.
It just goes to show the whole family's affected when it comes to drought, eh?
It did.
You know?
And even to be able to share those photos that they let us, which was amazing. But for farmers down here to see their bales in Hawke's Bay sitting on the dirt, and actually it's in a paddock.
Yeah, exactly. And the old dog garden over.
Yeah.
What I love seeing is the trucks going through and actually seeing the messages of support.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of farmers have put a lot of time and effort into. They just
have.
didn't hand bales over. They decorated them up, and they made them look amazing.
Yeah, there's been some great stories. We've had a few. So Williams Trucking here did a load up for us, and Rob's daughter Riley did this beautiful video. Walked around the truck, and she edited it. And it's got music and all these little animals popping up on it. But that's very cute. But you can also see all the messages all the way around, and Rob's even loaded them so all the messages face outwards.
That's actually really good, because I think just going up through the area up to Hawke's Bay, it's actually helped a lot of farmers on the way to read some of those messages without the messages going to the actual farmers that have got the bales.
Yeah. We know Jay was telling us after he did this feed run, he was driving up another time with his own baleage to drop off to sell, and someone was waving at him.
Wow.
So they recognised the truck.
That's actually just absolutely amazing to get that recognition, isn't it, for these guys that have donated their time, because farmers are busy themselves, even and so to be able to give that time, but also the trucks, because there's road usage and everything like that. That's just absolutely amazing.
Road users are nearly 80 cents a kilometre now for them, so there alone it's quite a cost.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a look at the next picture. So I stole these from the Facebook this morning.
Oh, this one, yeah, from Draper Land. The hang in there.
I think that just says a lot. Yep. That just, if you saw that out in your paddock and brown paddock, hang in there, it just would actually just give you just that little bit of well-being every day, wouldn't it?
Exactly, and that was my concept behind the decorating of the bales, is that winter goes a long time, and if you're having a dry winter, it's still cold, there's still no feed, to be out there in your tractor, at least when you hop out to unwrap your bale, it's a bit of a pick-me-up.
Yeah.
A bit of a reminder that someone is out there who you don't know, who's willing to help and is willing there to be there and thinking of you.
Because the unfortunate thing is through droughts, there's actually a lot of mental health that doesn't get acknowledged.
Absolutely.
Also in droughts, it's been well known that suicide levels go up.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling really down and out, and walk out to that, I think that would just put a smile on your face.
It is. It's just those small things which can just help out.
Yeah.
In a much bigger way than you think.
Exactly. So the decorations were just fantastic, but tell me the logistics. I'm going to just leave him up there for a while because I just think he's really nice. Tell me about the logistics of what you had to do.
Yeah, the logistics have been ongoing. It's ongoing. So when people email through with their bales, so there's 3 ways to start with. People could donate bales or let us know they wanted to. One was they emailed me on the Wairapa Feed Run email, or they messaged me on Facebook, or we actually had a form online, a Google form, which they could also complete. So looking back, we probably would streamline that if we ever did it again, but that's okay, you learn. And so we were kind of backwards and forwards getting the details of the bales, and it can take a bit of time because you do need to know address, number of bales, if they're squares or circles, wrapped or hay, straw. It's quite a lot of different bits in it. Address for pickup, how much notice they need, if they need for loading for tractors and soft hands, etc. So there was a lot of going through.
Which is actually, when you think about it, for somebody that's also working, you're getting prepared to go back to work.
Yeah.
And you've got these people just absolutely coming forward to you and going, I've got bales.
Yes.
It must have been more than like a full-time job for you in that time.
Yep. It was a lot. I did a lot during nap time. A lot during nap times and in the evenings. But even during the day, a lot of the time I would just lie on the ground with my laptop out while poor Ella's sitting there playing away. So it was a lot. Yeah, it was just time consuming actually, just that backwards and forwardsing and making sure you had all the details. So then I could put it in my spreadsheet. And if it was drop off or needed pick up, and then I was very fortunate that Resma Haulage and Māori Transport Boys, I could just email them and they would look after it from there.
That's really good, isn't it? So total credit to them, as the rugby guys say, total credit.
Absolutely.
Because, that's time and effort for them to go out and do that as well.
Yeah.
And it's also, as we say, the road usage, when they're donating a lot of time to that.
And it's, even for them just to work out the logistics, a lot of it is, like say, Rezzie's dropping off posts in Alfredton, he'll organise to pick up bales on his way home, but it's still that little bit extra time for his driver to go out and do this and bring them back, unload them. So we're very, very fortunate to have those 2 companies helping us out so much.
Yeah, it's goes to show actually realistically on how people step up in and I'll say it's a crisis. A drought is a crisis period.
I agree.
And people step up and help, and that's just absolutely amazing. And I think our community is one that really does always step up beyond what's needed.
Oh, it is. And even down to Wairapa Machinery and Bill Herrick have supplied tractors for both their yards.
So this
Even down to
one,
there.
we're just going to go on to another photo again.
Yeah.
And this is Hartuma with their lot.
It is. So a friend of ours works for Hartuma Lime. So she said she could come take some conventional bales and mini bales that had been donated up. So Daniel had already picked them up with our trailer. So she came out one day, her and her partner, and they loaded them onto her trailer. We put the tarp on and she dropped them off on her way up to Hartuma.
I think that's just amazing on how it's not just the haulage companies. There's a lot of other companies
There really
that have come
is.
in. I think I can just about show you the next picture. Oh, we're flicking
this is
around.
cute.
I should have actually spent time this morning, but I downloaded them
It's
at 8
okay.
o'clock this morning. So this is the family out there saying thank you.
Yeah. So they said it was on their way up on the drive. We never expected to have the support. Honestly, we just thought it was going to be 5 trucks with a pilot driving to Hawke's Bay.
And as
then
Daniel
meeting
said,
there.
he probably hardly a dry eye from the truck drivers during the day.
I'm very sure there wasn't.
I just think, for those truck drivers that went on that big one, that would have been such an emotional day for them to go up.
Well, one of them said he's, driven all his life and he's never been part of anything like that.
Wow.
I mean, there were people from Masterton all the way up. There were farmers on the main road out who had donated feed, who were standing out in the rain waiting for them.
That's just awesome.
It's incredible.
Right, and there's Resma with all of his lot all loaded
Yes.
up. Lots of messages on that. I can see Alfredton on that quite
Yeah,
clearly.
I think that was the Alfred and crew.
So there's Snills I can see there quite easily, only because I grew up in Ekirahuna, so I picked a name out that I know. So that I think is just fantastic. An area just see it picked up like that and the decorations.
Yeah, and there's some cool stories. I know that one, the Haynes family were huge in organising that load for us. And they said there was one person who grew up in the area who now lives in Japan. And they paid for a bale
Wow, wonderful.
to go on the truck. So they, from Japan, were able to support this.
That just goes to show that how Facebook and media now reaches. And,
Absolutely.
people talking, ringing home, especially during lockdown, keeping your family, because it's been really hard with somebody overseas. And I think that's just wonderful. And good on Graham for stepping up. I know my husband works at Gold Pine.
Oh, okay.
And he wanted him one day, but his truck was actually away doing some feed run.
Yeah.
So this is actually scrap metal. So it goes to show
is.
it's just not a farming community
It's
that came in
not.
to help.
So they share the yard with the Resma haulage, and of course they go up with trucks, and in this instance they weren't taking a bathtub up, so they had an empty trailer. So they saw this and put a few bales on there to go up.
That's awesome. Well done. So who's a steel right?
This is quite a cool story. I got contacted by Harry Murdoch, who lives in Taupo and runs a small contracting business up there doing small mini bales and hay bales. And he watched breakfast and he messaged me saying, can you give me a call? So I did. And he just said he loves it so much, he wanted to help. And he heard that I said we had 200 mini bales to move, and we weren't quite sure how we were going to move these, because to lift them up on a big truck was, it's going to be a bit tough. So he called me and said, look, we want to help. Him and he talked to his to IC. They were happy to get in their trucks and drive down here for the weekend and do this from Taupo.
Fantastic.
But then not only did they do that, they filled up their trucks with hay from Taupo, dropped them at the base in CHB, and then came down here and picked up ours and took them up.
Wow.
So during this, it gets better. The steel right, this truck is from Auckland. So I think his partner or his daughter, they have a connection to Taupo and to Murdoch's, and he heard about this and said, I want to help. So he drove his truck down from Auckland to Taupo, loaded it with some big rounds of hay, dropped that off in CHB, or the depot, and then drove down here and piled up with mini bales.
That's just amazing. What a wonderful story.
It is, and it just shows, trucks from Auckland are helping.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's just fantastic. Well done, Steel Right. Let's have a look at the next one. So this is Resma's yard.
No, I think this is another one from Horowhenua.
Is it?
Yeah,
But it just goes
Part
to
of
show
that
the
one
room
post.
that it needs to take on.
it does. It takes up a lot of space. I did say to Rezzy at one stage, I think I'm turning his yard into a contractor's yard, not a trucking yard. Because there were, at one stage, before we did the convoy up, there would have been 2 to 3 unit loads of baleage there, if not more.
Wow.
So it was over 100 bales sitting there at one stage.
So when you look at this as Horowhenua
Yes.
and what's going up from Horowhenua,
Yeah.
what's the other areas that have gone into it?
So, God, there's Horowhenua, there's them. Wanganui Fed Farmers did a load. There's been a couple of loads from Manawatu, some from Taranaki, one from Tupuki. I think there might be another one from up Waikato way.
Is there a Taihape one as well?
There is one from Taihape. And I've also had phone calls from someone in South Canterbury wanting to do something similar. And I know there's one in Mid Canterbury just starting up.
Wow. Just goes to show, you know, they're talking about drought. And when you're sitting in town, you don't really get the full implications of what drought means.
No.
You know, it's affecting your income, it's affecting your family. Just to walk outside and see your stock with no food just is heartbreaking.
Well, you know, the farmers who have had to sell off their capital ewes, so they've got no lambs for next year now. So that's next year's income also impacted.
And then when they
it's
go
not
to
just
buy
a
the
winter.
bag, it could be at the higher price than what they've sold them at as well.
So it just keeps, the impact of this will keep going for years.
Yeah. Right, the next one. The good old thank you. I just think these ones here are just amazing. People have taken the time.
I know. They've come down and there were quite a few all along the way, and these big signs were, the drivers said it was just, gave them such a boost.
Could well
Such a
imagine.
boost.
But at the same time, it'd be also quite heartfelt for them as well.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
that they're going up to, and they were doing something really good, and the appreciation. So Daniel spoke about on TV interview, one part where I watched one of the interviews, about how a guy just come up and tapped him on the shoulder and walked off.
Yes.
Talk me through that one.
So that was when they arrived up in Marakakaho. They stopped there, and where that video was with all the community. It was actually a farmer he knew, and he came up and just punched him on the shoulder and walked off.
Yeah.
And he said later it was because he didn't want Daniel to see him cry.
I think,
And it's just,
you know, farmers, so you really got to go and see that video. And I was really disappointed I couldn't get them on this morning, because that video
Yeah.
of seeing people coming around, and there was a woman running around going, thank you, everybody, thank you, thank you. And it just really goes to show how something like this has actually meant so much to them.
and we really had no idea. We knew how much this feed would help people. We absolutely knew that. We had no idea there'd be these people on the road. That was just an absolute surprise.
Yeah, here they're
And-
thinking they're going in Canito up to,
Well, we knew people knew about what was happening, and we'd talk to the Rural Support Trust up in Hawke's Bay and Beef and Lamb, and they were so supportive and brilliant to deal with. And they said, look, we're going to stop at the monument, get a few photos, and then go from there. That's what we were expecting, not the people and, you know, them directing the trucks everywhere. And yeah, it was amazing.
yeah.
Just so brilliant.
So, Sophie, we're just going to go and have a bit of a break on this for a minute. We've gone with winter jackets, and Sophie CrossFit is just going through and getting jackets. And I contacted her last night and said, what else do they need at the moment? I'm going to Featherston on Friday, and I'd like to fill my car like these guys filled their trucks with hay. We've got a lot of people out there needing jackets. At the moment, they're needing jackets for kids size 5 to 12. You can drop these off, wash them, put them in a bag, seal the bag, and drop them off to the Wairarapa Community Centre reception at 41 Perry Street. Or if you're getting a bit close to the time, give me a call. My phone number's on our Facebook, or message me through Facebook, and we'll come around and get them. But come on, let's do a really great chance of doing them. So they go down to Sophie and they get sorted. So if you follow the Winter Jackets on Facebook, you'll also see that they have actually got in with the DHB. There's jackets down here at the food bank. So let's get in and get these jackets and let's get these kids warm during winter, because we're just coming out of a pandemic. The last thing is we need the flu and the cold pandemic on top of us. So let's look after our community. And I know myself, the weekend we went and cleaned out a cupboard and we've got some jackets at the moment ready to go into it. I went into the office this morning and my back seat's full. So come on, guys, it's only the boot to fill up. Let's fill that boot up. Also, too, remember when you're at the supermarket, just one item each week in the food bank. It also helps them out as well, because the demand on them at the moment is huge. So, Sophie, welcome back.
Thank you.
An outstanding response you've had from local farmers. Tell me, what's some of the stories that you've had from them on how they've felt about this?
It's been really overwhelming, to be honest. Just the community spirit involved. There was one, I was on a phone call with a rural group, and they asked me some questions. A few farmers who were part of Fed Farmers or other organisations wanted to know a little bit more of the detail. So we happily chatted through it. And then the following week, this one community out Wainuiaru donated a whole unit load between a few farmers.
Wow.
And it was quite cool. It was a Sunday. Might have even been No, it was after lockdown. And they had all these bales all out in the paddock. And all the kids were out there spray painting their bales all in one place. And it was like a community hub for that day. Everyone came together and brought their bales along and decorated them.
That would be really good, because farmers being by themselves during lockdown without anybody else around would have been quite hard. We sort of think about it and we see people driving past when we're in town, but when you're in a country area, there can be no cars for ages.
No.
And it just feels very isolated because nobody's around you. So I think that's a really good opportunity. Well done, Wainuiaru, but they do have a good community out there.
They do. And there's so many examples like that. Alfredton with their bales. So many groups have just come together and helped out. And the decorating the bales has really been, I think, a little bit of a draw card. Because it's that thing that the kids can get involved in, and they do some really cool pictures, and they can just get out there and have a bit of fun and
which is really good. So how have you coped with this, the bales, the farm, and your work as well as raising a young baby and being a mum? How have you coped with that?
It's been a very, very busy time. I'm very glad it was pre-work, otherwise that could have made it a lot more difficult. But it's been, you do what you need to do. It's been absolutely worth it. It's definitely been a few late nights updating spreadsheets and keeping track of bales and the trucks that have gone up and finding more trucks to go up. That's probably actually our biggest dilemma now as such, is finding the trucks to take the feed to Hawke's Bay.
So guys, there's a big call out. Let's help Sophie. Even if you're going up with a truck and you've got a spare trailer, give Sophie a call, because let's get these bales through to Hawke's Bay. It's really important that these farmers are helped out.
Yeah, it is. And we're so thankful to those who have helped us already. They've been amazing. And we're still having a few come on board. We had Gray's Contracting, who came up and took 2 unit loads up for us a couple of Mondays ago. And they just reached out over Facebook.
Great.
And volunteered, and it was amazing just to have them give up their 2 trucks and 2 drivers for a day to do that for us.
Yeah, and remember, guys, if you're going up to the Hawke's Bay, if you're going up with some stock and you've still got, you haven't got a trailer on, going to the works, or even just going up to take something up to Hawke's Bay, and you can take a trailer up, give Sophie a call, because it's really important that we get this through to there.
It is.
It's really let's keep that momentum going for Sophie, because it's really important for the Hawke's Bay farmers.
Yeah.
So how did COVID-19 affect farmers? We've spoken about the isolation. We've spoken about not having that pub night.
Yeah.
That time just to release. How do you think the farmers were affected?
For the farmers in Hawke's Bay, it did have a huge impact. People forget that the works were working at half speed, because all employees had to be 2 metres apart on the chain, not 1. So you couldn't offload your stock. It was harder. We even found that the number of lambs you could get in to the works was lower for us. So if you're in Hawke's Bay and you need to destock, sale yards are closed and the works are over. There's just too much.
Yeah.
So you're having to then hold on to your stock as well, which then means you need more feed again. So it just made the whole situation harder and harder. And it just makes it so tough on you as a family too, to know there's this pandemic, you're worried about your family as well, plus you can't destock, you haven't got enough feed, you're going through your feed a lot more quickly.
And of course they were drier earlier up there as well.
Yeah.
Where we had that nice wet area in November, December. Excuse me,
Absolutely.
They were drying out as well. So they weren't able to get the number of bales in as well.
No, so they've had less than average rainfall since September. I think it's about nearly 9 months now. And they've also had a dry winter last year. So it has just been drier for a much longer time.
So it's really got to roll on you, because now, they've got to restock later on, and then there's a cost of restocking. And then if we go into another drought next year, it just keeps rolling on for them.
It does.
So, call out to the Hawke's Bay farmers and to Canterbury, who's going through the same as well. My sister's up in Whangarei, they're brown still. They're not as bad as these other areas, but it still does affect when they've got cows coming on ready to calve. They are not in the top condition, and it just continues on through in the process. Sophie, I think what you've done is just amazing, and I think you're an inspirational woman. We're getting very close to our time, but there is a few photos that we can still go through.
Go for it. Oh, this is quite cool. They had some beautiful bales, this farm, and it's just such a nice photo, and I literally love the black and white aspect.
I just think her face is just gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just such a nice photo.
What I like about this is the kids been involved. You can see kids have done that, and it's kids involved.
I don't know this farm at Te Awawa. Not sure who had more fun, the kids or Mum and Dad were in there as well.
I think that's
with the spray
gorgeous.
paint.
So that's obviously the Guscots at the back there.
Yes, this is actually Dan's truck. He drove up, so on the Friday before the run-up, he went and grabbed one of Jay's trucks and drove around filling it up. So we went in the Ponatai Valley around all our neighbours. Picked up bales and did that, and there were a few bales not decorated, so the Guscott kids actually came down at 7 a.m. the next morning, got the spray paint out and decorated the rest up for him. I
think that's just amazing. The kids are just so involved, and it's just, you go, as you say, you go out the paddock, and that's just amazing. That's a very small one of Rob Williams. Unfortunately,
yes.
But it shows some of the bales that you talked about earlier.
Yeah. Yep, so he did a run from Tanui in. So someone out Tanui managed to snap a photo of him. I think it was quite reluctantly, but they got him.
Yes, I noticed he stayed away from the camera when distorted to the video.
This is the mini bales that night. So these are the guys who came down from Taupo to do this. This was Saturday night about, well, by then it must have been 5:30, 6:30. The last of the mini bales being loaded on to the truck from Auckland.
So what's about the approximate weight of those? You said they were very heavy.
Anywhere from 40, 45 kilos.
So they're actually more an awkward size to handle.
They are, and I can't lift a whole one because my arms just aren't long enough to get round them. So you have to roll them everywhere, and they hold the water. They're very messy little things. But
they'd be good on what farms?
They're great for lifestylers.
Yep.
A lot of lifestylers now are getting caught short in Hawke's Bay as well. So these, they don't have tractors. They don't have the need for a whole big bale. So these are perfect for them.
Exactly. You talk about the big bales, but they're actually got to have specialised equipment to move them. So, if you're in this situation, these bales would be fantastic, even though they're a little bit more logistically hard to deal with. But it's good to see that lifestylers are in the mix.
They are.
That looks like our last photo, but Sophie, it just goes to show on how so much has happened. Have you got any other stories that you want to share with us?
There's probably so many.
So let's just pick one that you think would actually help the well-being of the people up there.
For me, it was the day the day we did the convoy up. We started at the Resma haulage yard, and at that time, Rezzy and Frankie were actually in Hawke's Bay doing the first drop-off, so they were the first ones up there. But those guys standing around, and the guys who were at Resma Hall Lodge at the time came out and helped. Stu Wythe came down in his tractor to help load bales, just to make it quicker. And all the way up, just the people. People came down to help, like the Butterick family who donated bales came down and to see their bales heading off. All the people on the road up. I had videos being sent to me constantly from the trucks and of the people on the side of the roads as they drove past, and then the people on the side of the road sending me the other side of the video. It was just that amazing day.
It was a very amazing day, and of course nowadays there's trucks going through, and if you see trucks going through with hay or bales, give them a tote, because those guys are doing an amazing job. So you've still got bales to move. So how long do you think this process will continue on for you at the moment?
I don't know. It all depends on the trucks. So we actually, a lot of what we have left, there's a lot of baleage, but there's also a lot of straw, and that's generally at 2 or 3 yards. So we're trying to find trucks who can go straight to the yard and pick it up, just so we don't have to handle it 2 or 3 times. So there's probably, I think there's about 300-400 bales of straw alone to go up. So hopefully we find some nice curtain siders to put those in and fill them up. That's the big ones at the moment. And that straw is still useful for farmers in Hawke's Bay, those who are feeding palm kernel. It's great. Gives some cows a bit of roughage to eat that with. Fills up their tummies.
Great. Yeah, because we're coming into calving and lambing time, so it's really important that what is still on the farms are actually in good condition to be able to cope. Because if they're unwell going into that situation, it's just going to lead into more lambing and calving problems.
It is, and that's where the Rural Support Trust, the Wairarapa, have been amazing. Those guys have helped me so much, from logistics and working out truck routes to, helping load bales, so much. And then the Rural Support guys in Hawke's Bay as well, they are just doing amazing work, and they are in charge of distributing the feed for us.
I was just going to say to you, how's it distributed?
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
So you take it up to one area and then it's up to them to do it?
So they have 2 depots which we drop at, and then they talk to farmers. They know the farmers who are really in trouble. What they do make them do, though, before they are allowed any donated feed from any area, is they have to do a feed budget, just so that they can understand what their feed demand is, what they need, what else they're feeding supplement-wise, so we can make sure the right feed goes to the right person as well, and that's also for lifestylers. Great. So for them, it's their education around how much your pet cows eat or your sheep, and also how we can help them long-term, not just for the next month with some feed, but also to sustain this throughout winter. So they do some great work out there.
So tell me more about the trust, and what do the Rural Trust do? What are they there for?
Lots and lots. So they really support farmers, especially because I talk to the Hawke's Bay guys a lot at the moment. They're all in areas, so they ring around the farmers in their area, talk to them about what they're having trouble with. They can organise anything from, let's say, an older farming family who maybe needs some help just checking dams, make sure there's no stock in there and pulling them out. They can help organise people for that, to help, distributing feed, to someone to talk to, anything. We had one guy who came to us through the Rural Support Trust, and he sent me a lovely email afterwards saying, I don't want to be identified, but just thank you so much. Like, this feed has actually saved my farm. He's not on social media. He said when he got the call to say he had a truckload of bales coming up, him and his wife were crying. Oh,
yeah, that just goes to show on how this drought is really affecting people. It's just, we can sit down here in our little wee world and go, we're in a green world, we're fine. But it's when you think about your income and the amount of time and effort you put into your farm, seeing your stock go backwards, it's just so heartbreaking.
And to hear that, someone they didn't see how they were going to survive. They thought they were going to be selling their farm.
And that's really sad, because they've probably had a lifetime working on a farm.
Exactly.
Working on that farm, putting time into that farm. That's just really sad. Sophie, it's been fantastic, and it's been really good going through these photos. And I've really enjoyed myself. I've got a family that's really farming focused, even though my husband works in town. He's been brought up on a farm. It's been really fantastic to see what's been on Facebook. But I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Wairarapa, because you've just been so inspirational and seen other people coming to you and going, how did you do it? Honestly, I'm sitting here going, how did you do it? It's
I still don't know, to be honest.
When things calm down and you look back, you know, you've said yourself you might slimline things. It'd be really good to see something come out of this for the future, so that it's all set up and it's ready to go. And if you're not willing to take it on in the future, that there's somebody else willing to. Because, you know, Sophie and Daniel have just given so much of their time up, and it's really, I can't commend you guys enough for putting your hands up and going, we'll do it. And then the overwhelming wall just hits you.
It's been an amazing experience, and looking back, I still wouldn't have not done it at all. It's just been so heartwarming to be able to help someone.
Yeah, I betcha.
Yeah.
So, Sophie and Daniel, thank you. Guys, we're back on this again. We've got 2 minutes to go, but I am going to finish up today with thanking Sophie for coming in and taking the time, and to Payne Kershaw's for allowing her to come in today and actually spend time with me. I hope you get some more trucks through to the Hawke's Bay and things start moving again for you, because it's well deserved up there.
Absolutely.
For the Women's Centre, we're back up and going again. Bonnie's got courses up and going, so we've got support groups going again. So we've got the Older Woman Network and the support group, so make sure you check out our Facebook. We've also got 5D diamond pictures, well, they're not actually pictures, there's bookmarks, there's purses, and I'm also going to be putting out a survey shortly. I know some women have joined my icing groups, and we've had some suggestions put in that we perhaps have an icing group that meets once a month and we do different things. So we go from cupcakes to we were meant to do naked cakes this week, but unfortunately due to COVID-19 we couldn't do it, through to actually learning how to use gum paste, which I actually said I was going to learn how to do gum paste during the COVID-19 lockdown, but I forgot Trade Me wasn't delivering during that time, so I didn't quite get my order in early enough. So guys, we've actually had an amazing morning with you. It's been fantastic. From me, we'll see you in a month's time. Thank you.